Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Happy Friday, everyone. Hi, Dmitry.
Hello, Tatsiana. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, today we have Thursday. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, I just thought about it. Yeah, it's not a Friday, it's Thursday. Usually we have this webinar on Friday. That's why this
Yeah,
occurrence also. I
usually,
mixed up.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this was cool joke.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish it would be Friday.
Yeah, very soon.
Yeah. Okay, so far on the line we have 20 attendees, and I think we can start probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today with us is our probably the most frequent speaker on our webinars, Dmytro
Yeah, hello
Lozovytskyi,
everyone.
yeah, hi Dmytro once again. And today we're speaking about user stories. I guess this topic is absolutely familiar to every BA. Every BA faced with this technique, but I'm pretty sure that Dmytro will share very interesting techniques, tricks, tips, and whatever from his experience. So I'm pretty sure that it will be very interesting today. So I guess we can start. Dmytro.
Sure. Thank you so much, Tatsiana. So, hello everyone. Hello, dear fans of business analysis. And we like to present to your attention, guys, today the most, I think, popular, the most common, but at the same time, one of the most important topic related to user stories writing, process. And this time we trying to provide to you guys, to your attention, to our the main or general picture, general overview. What kind of tool user stories is for us? Yeah, I mean for us as for a whole BA community, for all BA professionals. And actually, this is really extremely, I guess, extremely popular topic. But again, at the same time, today together, we're going to understand what kind of approach we need to use when we think about the user stories writing process. For what we're going to use the user stories, and what kind of different understanding we have in the question of user stories as a BA's work object, when we should use them, and how to use this tool in our BA toolset. So this is the main accents for us for today's speech. And we hope, as usually, that at the end of this speech, you're going to provide some questions. So don't forget about the best practice, to have near you or under your hands some kind of pen, maybe piece of paper, or some notes, and provide your question during the speech. With our pleasure, we're going to share our practice, our vision with you guys. Today's agenda is the next. So the first part of our webinar we will use for understanding why user stories is a tool for effective requirements formation. And we're going to speak about the common mistakes of understanding and optimal writing technique for user stories. After that, we will provide to your attention, guys, some kind of main accents from different project role perspective. What kind of main accents for different roles will be in the process of user story writing and usage? And what kind of mistakes do we have there? Also, we're going to speak about user stories as unification tool for the development work in vision. Yeah, and of course, we're going to provide to your attention, guys, best practices and mistakes of user stories writing. So, and finally, we're going to have a Q&A session as usually with you.
And
Let's
let
start.
me jump here for the moment, Dmytro,
Sure.
as for the questions and answers session. So we have a small competition here, and the best question will be rewarded with a badge from our community. So please, I'm encouraging you for being proactive. So do not hesitate to ask all questions in the meeting chat. So Dmytro will answer them in the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Tatsiana. And guys, don't be shy. Provide your questions. So this is a short information about me. If you want to see this information, I think that you can have it in our presentation after our webinar. But generally, I'm Dmytro Lozovytskyi, Chief Business Analyst. Current location is Ukraine, west part of Ukraine, Lviv. And yeah, let's start. Let's start, guys. So I want to start as usually with some great quote, yeah, of interesting people. And this time I like to present the famous quote of Steve Jobs. So get closer than ever to your customers, so close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves. And this is a great announcement for our webinar. Why? Because user stories is a tool for BAs that helps us to make together all kinds of requirements that our development teams will work with in the future in development process. And based on this information, we're going to provide not only vision of client for such piece or for some piece of functionality. We're going to provide the vision of value and real value that we're going to develop in our products. So that is why the simple technique is so extremely important for our usage in our everyday BA practice. And the first slide will be about what our client needs in reality. Yeah, and of course, as you can see, guys, we have the top five positions of clients or points of clients' needs in the left part. What they are? First one, to have a quality product. Everyone wants to have the quality. Yeah, everyone. And in economic of 21st century, this is the first point. Yep, customize your products and provide the best quality as you can. So the second point is about don't spend too much time on explanations. Yep. So clients doesn't want to spend too much time to explain what we should develop. They want to tell us some kind of intentions, some kind of thoughts, and after that they expected that our development team wants to pick up them and provide some vision, detailed vision on that ideas. So really, clients are so busy today or these days, and they don't want to spend too much time for explanations. The third one is saving the budget, of course, through teamwork, focus, and efforts. For sure, everyone cares about the money. The next is to have enough flexibility in work for changes. Yep. Why? Because our surrounding changing every time. Yep, and business context could be changed. And this is the main accent in our work. One more main accent in business analysis work, in business analyst work, or on team level work as well, to be flexible enough, to be adaptable enough, to make sure that you will provide definitely needed things to the client on fly. You can reorganize that. You could reorganize your teamwork on fly. And this is also great client need right now. And the last one, last but not least, yep, in general, but in these top 5 points, this is the last position: to have comfortable teamwork activities, planning and control process. So our clients need to know that everything is going in the right direction. They want to have to put their hands on the pulse of development process and make sure that our teams knows what we are going to do and what we need to deliver. And based on these needs, of course, between these needs, we also have between these needs and key team roles work. What kind of key team roles do we have in our teams? Product owner, business analyst, team leads, different dev lead, QA lead, maybe design lead, etc. Specific roles: architect, DevOps, or SRE specialist, and other. So we have the requirements creation process. Yep. And that is why we need to be sure that our requirements creation process we need to have some approach for this process. We need to create this approach, and we need to provide and align this approach with our clients to make sure that these key 5 needs will be covered from our side. So what kind of approach do we have? Of course, we don't want to invent the bicycle again. We're going to speak about the common tool today, about the user stories writing process and user stories as a tool, business analyst tool. And we have one more question for us. What is the user stories tool for us? What is? And we have 4 answers, as you can see on this screen, 4 answers. It's not only about requirements. Please mention that, guys. Don't forget about that. That first of all, this is some kind of organizational tool, and why we're going to speak today. The second point is a basic object of requirements description and collecting. For sure, this is a classic answer. The third one, teamwork efforts measurement equivalent. Yes, one more classic answer. And the last one is about work progress tracking basis. But first of all, this is some kind of organizational tool. Why? Because user story writing process is not only for business analysts. And you will be sure at the end of this webinar why. Yeah. So let's go forward. Requirement solicitation, main paradox. And I have a question for you guys. Why this is a main paradox? Why the common project documents do not provide a common understanding? Very often. Why? And I know that we are limited in time with our time, but I will provide this answer for you guys. Because everyone, we could have one document, we could have in our practice, or we could use in our practice, one single doc, yep, with requirements description. You can provide this doc to team A and for team B, yeah? But in that teams, you're going to have different people with different level of maturity, with different level of experience, with different level of organizational skills. And Finally, you will find out when team A and team B, or group A of people, group B of people, yeah, just reading this doc, you will see the difference in their understanding. Why? Because of the reasons that I mentioned. And that is why we should align our vision about the requirements not only with our clients. We need to align this vision in our triangle, our clients or client representatives, our development team, and for sure our main orchestrators of these requirements, POs and BAs, yeah, PO or PP product owners and business analysts. And common understanding why we need to align this vision. For what? The main question, for what? For common understanding creation. Only in that case we can be sure that we're going to create the same, we're going to have the same picture in our heads, and we're going to create exactly this functionality or this part of value that our client needs to have. When both of us very good understand what exactly and why we are imagine the same, yeah, this is the phrase. We need to understand, we need to have the same vision, we need to have the same picture in our heads, what we're going to do. That is why we align everything. And user story is a tool that helps to do such activity. So let's go forward. The main idea of user story tool is, yep, to get the group of people to the common and clear understanding. So to get the group of people, this is the main idea of user story tool. And we have two options here. At the left hand, at the left hand, we have stop option, and at the right hand we have start option. Yep, as you can see. So please stop trying to create ideal documentation, because ideal documentation, it could be ideal only for you guys, for example, for some person, but not for all of us. Yeah, and this is some kind of utopia. We don't need to have ideal documentation, but what we should have, we should have start to communicate, discuss efficiently, and combine common imaginations. Yep. In that case, we're going to have the common vision, the same vision on one object or some group of objects that should be developed. At the same time, only in that case, we're going to have the same vision on these things. When we start to communicate with each other, start to discuss efficiently and combine common imaginations. The huge mistake of user story usage is the next. If you as BA use the user stories as a tool in development practice, but do not discuss them with the team and stakeholders without images and word technique combination, you are using them in the wrong way. Please remember this. This is a classic mistake, the huge mistake of user stories usage. Why? We need to find out. Agile vision of user stories usage is the next. Yep. The first option, for what? And you can see, guys, the answers with the green with the bullet points. Yep, the highlighted bullet points with a green color. Yeah, product ideas, functions, and improvements. All these key three things should be reflected in the user story. And based on agile vision, on agile approach in our practice, we can say that user stories should be used as a communication tool. Yep, communication tool that helps optimize product value. This is the first point. And the second point, using the agile approach in the user stories usage, it means a lot of valuable discussions, drawing, sketching, making notes, moving and prioritizing story stickers. So you can see, guys, user story is not only about description. This is a tool that could help us to organize the group work of people who related to the development process, who related to the requirements defining process in general. So don't forget about that. That is why we need to take our attention or provide our accents on these key three things. So the first one, product ideas, how we reflect this product idea in user story, the functions that for functions, I mean the functionality part, yeah, and improvements. What will be the next step after this user story, and so on. So that is why we have some kind of concept vision of user stories, correct usage mechanism. So as you can see, we have user story initial state and user story final state. In the middle part of this slide, we have user story structure, just general structure. First of all, let's start from the structure. For sure, we need to have the part of user story idea, yeah, related to description of user story idea. After that, we need to provide the three parts so that we just remind before on previous slide: product idea part, functions part, improvements part. Yep, all the things should be described. Also, we have some kind of specifications and requirements. Yep, and at the first, from the initial point, we're going to start our work from volume of work. To estimate, we need to have user stories as unified estimation unit, yep, or just tool, yep, to understand what kind of volume of work we need to do. We need, at the same time, we need to minimize our volume of work and maximize our results and long-term value. So in that case, we're going to move from user story initial state up to user story final state. Yep. And for sure, we need to answer on the next questions: for whom, why, and what. Yeah, this is a classic questions that we can say that we can remind when we're going to speak about the user stories writing process. So let's realize one more time: we need to minimize our volume of work. Why? Because user stories shouldn't take too much time from our development team to do some functionality. And at the same time, we need to understand with user story description and defining some points or some main accents when we're going to work on user stories, how we can maximize our results and long-term value for our clients. And the main reason, yeah, what we can say about the value, a little bit more, what we can say about the value. The main reason for user story is value optimization. We always do not have enough time and resource to develop everything that we want to develop, always. This is the law. I guess this is not a formal but real law or rule of development process. Our clients want to have everything very often, and they don't know exactly, very often they don't know exactly what they want to have. And I think that the quantity of their wishes will increase during the development process, maybe in times. So we need to prioritize their attention, and we need to optimize the value that our requirements reflect for our clients based on their, of course, strategic goals. I mean, product strategic goals and business strategic goals as well. So that is why we need what we have in our tool set. We should have great user story structure. And as you can see, guys, we provide to your attention some kind of user story optimal structure that I'm pretty sure that you're going to use in your practice. Yep. And what we have in that structure, of course, we have some kind of organizational and tracking part that helps us to understand the progress that we're going to have with that user story in development process, such as task and tracking system, task number and in tracking system, Jira or MS Azure DevOps, etc. Short story name for sure. Short story name, yeah. Story priority, story status, story size, story date creation. Just general attributes of user story that we're going to use in our practice. And we have, of course, the main part of user story, the part of user story sense. And here, guys, you can see the separate part. You need to answer on 3 questions: who, what, and why. After that, based on this answer, you're going to create some kind of story acceptance criteria. And for sure, for a great user story description, you're going to add some kind of story attachments, non-functional requirements, and change requests if you have them in general in your practice. And related, of course, you will provide also some kind of connections for related stories, and you will sign these stories with by some author, yeah. And this is optimal user story structure. The main or key thing is the next, that you need to define the value with these 3 key questions answers. Yep, who, what, and why. Main accents of the roles that related to user story creation process. First of all, for product owner role, yeah, in what chapters product owners interested more than in other chapters? I think in the biggest part of them, yeah, for sure. As you can see, guys, the arrows on the screen, short story name, yes, story description, yes, for sure. The main answers on these key 3 questions, and story acceptance criteria, CRs, related stories, and some points about the story priority, story status, and story size. This is the main accents from the point of view of product owner for current structure of user story. Let's try to see what kind of accents we will have for leads. Sure, the same, but the less quantity, yep. So, as you can see on the screen, again, description, who, what, why, acceptance criteria, story attachments, non-functional requirements, CRs. Yeah, this is the most valuable information in user story for leads role, yeah, and of course story priority and story size, because we need to estimate our work, we need to define the priorities, we need to go forward according to our development plan and provide the value, provide the functionality to our client. And what is the main accents of work for business analyst? All stories chapters. So what kind of conclusions we can make based on this information, based on this vision? I think that all key project roles are related to user story creation process. And that is true. For sure, business analyst is a key role in that process. Why? Because business analyst will provide the draft description of user story. But on the next steps, you need to align this user story description with product owner. You need to align this vision. You need to align this vision with your development leads and development team. Yep. And you need to be sure that you're going to provide exactly what your client needs to have in this functionality. Yeah, in this or that functionality that described in the user story, in specific user story. So we need to understand. That is why user story for business analysts is not only requirements, is not only story about the requirements. This is the story about cooperation in efficient manner with key project roles. Don't forget about that, guys, because the quality of the user story depends not in bigger in big part or bigger part, depends not only from the process of user story description that business analyst should use for, but in the biggest part, the quality of user story related to your cooperation, to the ability to organize the people on this user story optimal structure usage and divide the work, organize the process, organize communication, organize cooperation to analyze together what should be done. This is a key accent that we need to understand and we need to provide in our work. It doesn't mean that you need to take too much time from PO, from dev leads, from development team. This is a biggest fear of developers. Yep, at the same time. Oh my God, if business analyst going to our leads or going to us with all kinds of user stories and he or she need to know everything, or we need to provide our vision for every user story, it will take too much time and we will have some delays in our development part of work. No, it depends, guys, on framework that you're going to use. It depends how you organize this process. It depends how you will prepare the draft of user stories for these guys. It depends from a lot of things, but you need to cooperate. You need to cooperate because user story is a key, is a cornerstone. I can say is a cornerstone in the process of requirements understanding and usage. And that is why we're going to propose to you, to your attention, guys, this optimal structure as maybe some kind of example that you can compare with your practice and maybe take some points from this example to make your user story a little bit better than they are. Well, let's go forward. User story work cycle. Yeah, how this work cycle looks like. We have only 3 simple steps: user story writing, user story discussion, and user story confirm and approve. Yep. So nothing special, but we should be strict forward with the order of this cycle. Yep. So we're going to start with writing, after that with discussion, after that confirmation and approval. Before writing step, we have another bunch of activities from business analyst side. So requirements elicitation, yep, activities, and this is a separate topic for our discussion. But on the writing step, we should make the product description as clear as possible. You can see, guys, the main accent, as clear as possible, with a simple language, with the simple sentences, but enough to understand what should be done. On the next step, discussing stories is necessary in order to work together and find the best solution to a problem that we understand at the same way. You see, guys, best solution to a problem that we understand at the same way. So you need to have the discussion. If you're going to use Scrum, yeah, for sure we have refinement session. For sure we have planning session. If you need to have additional refinement session, please use that. Use that on your project. Don't be shy to ask about that. Don't be shy to confirm and provide some proofs that we need to have that. Because the quality of description of user story descriptions and common understanding in that question will save our time in development process. And maybe in times, not on with some kind of percent, but maybe in times. And the last step and the last accent is about together we will agree on how we will understand that, implemented the product correctly, and how we will demonstrate the readiness of the product. Because user story writing is about the demonstration, the demo about the demo of functionality as well. Yeah, this process is also related to such kind of activity, and we shouldn't forget about that. User stories as unification tool. What kind of steps we need to have to make sure that we make the right product? So this is for this idea we need to use experiential learning cycle development team. Yep. So we have 6 steps: creation, experimental, minimum available product, feedback form, or feedback from customers and users, subjective and objective data, experience extraction, and improvement ideas. So our user stories writing process is related to such cycle. Don't forget about that, and don't miss separate steps in this cycle. Only in that case you're going to be sure that everything that you make is right. User stories description best practice. For sure, guys, you can't go from our webinar without any kind of practical recommendations. And we prepare for your attention top 10 of our recommendations. So the first one, include the user story only what is necessary for description and understanding of its meaning. Only this, nothing more. Please be laconic, but be specific at the same time. The best estimate of the time spent by those developers who correctly understand what they work. Exactly true. If your people understand, I mean development team, understand what they're going to do, they will easily estimate the time that they need to spend for such kind of activities, development activities, to create proposed functionality. Think iteratively to add new things. Yes, sure, because when you want to polish your user story, when you want to create something new based on existing user stories, don't include everything in one big story. Yeah, please think iteratively and add new things to these user stories with small portions. Yep, only in that case you will get the quality gains in your thinking process, in your discussion process, etc. User tasks already, the fourth point, about the user tasks. User tasks are the best material for stories writing. Yep. So please don't forget about that. Think about the user behavior and use the user task description to create the user stories. After writing the stories, remove all unnecessary. Yes, sure, that's common sense, but very often business analysts could be very busy and overloaded, and sometimes on refinement session we can see a lot of user stories with a lot of unnecessary things. Or just things in draft status. So don't forget to remove all unnecessary from your user stories. The best solutions are the results of people collaboration. Yes, we talk a lot about this today. Use simple story templates. Simple story templates. You know, guys, I think you know that fact that in our business analyst life, we have more than 60 templates for user story writing. 60 templates. You can imagine that, yep. But you need to think about the simplest of them. Why? Because simple template provide quick understanding and clear vision what should be done. And not every template really could be specific or could be applied to specific of project. Not every template. Of course, we like to have to use the user stories with, for example, user stories description in Gherkin with Gherkin approach, etc. But Gherkin approach is not universal approach at all. Don't forget about other approaches. Yeah, a story can be a story even if it is not made according to a template. Sure, don't forget about this fact as well. Every story will have to be discussed with different people from different points of view. Yes, sure, it's common sense, but we need to we shouldn't forget about that. Use tools to organize work, analyze, and monitor the progress. That is the best 10 recommendations. And about actually about the 8th point, I want to add maybe a little story. Yeah, very often on our refinement session, or maybe, for example, if you're going to use some safe approach, yeah, and this approach is extremely popular in our clients area. For example, our client representatives, our POs, just during the planning session, they remember some ideas, some facts, or they have some aha effects from planning session, and they want to include something in backlog, and we don't have enough time to use maybe the classic way of user story description. They can write the short description on the paper or in electronic form and provide to you guys with ask to include such things in your backlog. And this is also could be applicable in our practice as well. Don't forget about. I had a couple of examples in my past with such approach. And a couple of words before we're going to finish about the user stories acceptance criteria. What is acceptance criteria? Yep. And you can see, guys, the definition. The set of statements, each with a clear pass-fail result that can be measured and specified for both functional and non-functional requirements. So the set of statements. This is a simple answer for us. Please don't invent something new. Everything is simple. So, set of statements. And for what? For defining boundaries of stories, yep, reaching consensus, streamlining acceptance testing, yes, sure, planning and estimating, and describing scenarios and explain. Yep. So this is one of the most interesting accents in our work and in our business analyst work. Why? Because acceptance criteria we need to align definitely with developers and QAs. Definitely. Don't forget about that, guys. User stories acceptance criteria. Yep, the best recommendations on how you should work with them. Collect acceptance criteria in one place. Yes, sure, you shouldn't collect one acceptance criteria in one place, another in another place, draft, etc. Please collect all them in under user story. Yeah, developers need to decide on technical solution based on the acceptance criteria, and they should be agreed upon beforehand. So, extremely important point. They need to decide on technical solution based on the acceptance criteria. That is why acceptance criteria is not formal thing. This is a real thing that you need to care about. Acceptance criteria should be concrete, but not too narrow. Please make the balance. Leave enough freedom for your developers to come up with the solution. Don't push developers. This is their option. Yeah. Write your acceptance criteria in simple language, for sure. Avoid using not and write positive sentences wherever it's possible. Yep. Why? Because this is a fact that should be covered. Yeah. And write testable acceptance criteria. That is also common sense. About the types of user stories acceptance criteria, scenario-oriented acceptance criteria, don't forget about that, and rules-oriented acceptance criteria. Please think about them before you're going to use some approach in your user stories. Think about them. All both cases are good, but you need to specify what kind of case or what kind of way of user stories acceptance criteria writing you want to use based on specific of your current project. And the final slide is the next. Yep, checklist. What to talk with the team about when we are going to work on user stories. Because when a business analyst provides some kind of bench of user stories for teamwork or team review, we need to understand how to build the conversation with guys. Yeah, and based on that question, we want to provide to you guys some kind of recommendations. Again, practical recommendation that you want that could be used from your side. So please really discuss who exactly. Yep. Don't talk about user stories at all. Be specific. Be specific when you discuss something. Discuss what. Please start with user-defined tasks. Yep. And discuss why. The key three questions that we mentioned before in user story structure. With these key three questions answers usage, you're going to provide the correct vision to your developers. Yep. So when you discuss why, you need to understand the interested users and their motivations. Why? Yes, why they need to have such functionality. What else? Discuss what is going on outside this user story. Discuss what happens if everything goes wrong. Sure, classic. And discuss the likelihood of finding the best solution for everyone. Yeah. This is very tricky point because you need to spend some time for that. And sometimes in our team discussions, we couldn't have consensus from the first try. So that is why we need to have a couple of these sessions, a couple of discussions. But it's pretty rare case, could be rare case if you have a good description of user story and if you provide the answers on three questions that we mentioned before: who, what, and why. Yeah. Discuss how long it will take, for sure. So this is a basic accents about what you should talk with the team. Yeah, when you're going to work on user stories. And finally, I want to provide one more quote. This is a very famous guy. He is a writer, famous writer in the United States, and he said very cool phrase: the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. So this quote is also could be related to user story writing process. Why? Because from business analyst depends a couple of things. First of all, approach, template, organizing of the process, how you will work with a team, with the whole team on user stories, polishing process, yeah, or polishing activities, yep, or just user stories, we can say creation activities, yep. Everyone has his own role, but all together we're going to work on requirement specification, yeah. And these things you need to remember. These things you need to use in your practice. Don't forget about that, please. So I think that's all that I want to share with you today, guys. And right now we could have some time for Q&A session. Tatsiana?
Yeah, thank you, Dmytro. I believe everyone has heard a lot of interesting and very useful information regarding user stories.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Yeah, before we start our Q&A session, just would like to mention that if you would like to say thank you to Dmytro or even to the moderator, you can do it
For
via
sure.
the link of the webinar. I've posted the link to the chat, so do not hesitate to rate our presentation today and say thank you. We would appreciate. And now we're ready for our Q&A session. We have already a bunch of questions. The first one will be from Monica. She has 2 questions basically, and I will start from the first one. So, how to refine user stories in a reverse engineering project when code already exists and you need to modify current functionality, but customer has no time to explain the past?
Mm-hmm. Good question. Thank you so much, Monica. So in my opinion, based on my experience, yep, maybe it is not the optimal way, maybe, but it definitely it's work way. Yeah. I participated in my past in a couple of such projects, and how we define the same problem, how we resolve the same problem. Yep. So first of all, yeah, we have existing code. We have no time with our customer. We have no time from the side of our customer, but we have an option to modeling the requirements, and we spend maybe extra time for such kind of activity, but this activity provides the best results. Why? If you have initial information and this information enough to modeling the requirements, please do that. Please do that. But you definitely need to care to take maybe some bunch of time from stakeholder side to revise the created materials, yeah, created user stories with you. Maybe you need to think about how you can optimize the process of user story revision, yep, in general with your stakeholders. But again, you need to have the final confirmation. But you are free. You should feel free to choose the best way, the best option to modeling with your guys' needed requirements. I think this is the one option, and this is the option A. And option B is about actually maybe simplify the process. Simplify the process. I mean, first of all, please provide the easiest manner of user stories description in such case, but enough to understand what should be done from our developer side. And in such way, you also should have some kind of demo, not demo sessions, but review sessions, again, with your stakeholders of created functionality. If a stakeholder likes, will like, yep, a created functionality, it means that your format could exist, could be applied, and your format of simple format of user story description works. So this approach has some risk because you can miss the step, or you can cut the step of separate user stories review from stakeholder side. If your stakeholder is so busy that this stakeholder doesn't have any kind of time, yeah? So this is a risky way, but this way is also works. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dmytro.
And the second question?
Yeah, the second question from Monica is more about probably your experience, your huge experience, and not about user stories, but still. In your experience, what program or institution would you recommend to be a certified product owner? I guess it's a topic of another discussion, probably. I remember your previous webinar, but still, yeah.
No problem. I highly recommended PSPO certification, PSPO 1, PSPO 2, and PSPO 3, the third level. So please don't ignore that certification program. Why? This program is complex, but this program, for example, has easy manner of education of its participants. And I like this program very much because when I certified on the first level, we had the trainer from Ukraine. On the second level, we have the trainer from Poland. So you guys could meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of professionals with different kind of experience. And the program is well structured, and I like this approach so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, another question from Ariel.
Sure.
How to keep the balance between too much and satisfying details in the user story? Where does enough details end and guided by the hand begin?
Great question. I like this question so much. Very, very, very good question. Thank you guys for that. This is a balance. This is a balance of commitment. This is how to say unfeasible thing from one side, but feasible from another one. Why? Because we reviewed some kind of slides before. Yep. Where we have the optimal user story structure. Yeah, let me come back to this slide one more time again. So guys, you can see, yep, based on this structure, we have a couple of key things. Generally, yep, I didn't see a lot of times this block, who, what, why. A lot of guys ignore this block. Everyone starts from story description, blah, 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 some kind of sentences, sometimes a few sentences, sometimes a couple of pages. After that, based on this information, guys trying to provide the story acceptance criteria, the huge list of them. But everyone, in that case, everyone lose the focus. In that case, guys lost the focus. And we have special block with 3 key questions: who, what, and why. This is the thin red line in understanding what should be done in the user story. This is not about Gherkin approach. This is a common sense that you need to align definitely with developers, product owners, or client representatives. Yep. And development team. Client representatives, you and development team. Yeah. If you have the strict answers on these questions, believe me, guys, all other things could be polished or cut. You can cut not necessary things from story description and from story acceptance criteria as well. This is my answer. Thank you. And yep, and also I will recommend to you guys, and we're going to provide in maybe in our chat or maybe in the comments to this webinar a couple of books that you're going to use, and I'm sure that you will be happy to use the techniques described in that books.
Oh, great! It would be very helpful, I believe. Thanks again. Okay, and the last question for today, and we have like 1 minute for this.
Sure.
Yep. Will a user story formulated using SMART principles be helpful in its description, or will it be redundant?
Good question. Actually, I think that, again, it depends on your vision. Yep. Your aligned vision with the team, and this vision should be specific to your project. Yep. So smart criteria. Okay. Why not? Yep. If you can explain how you should apply the principles of SMART, why not?
That's a good and short answer.
Why not? Yep.
All right. So, Dmytro, are you able to choose the best question for today?
I think the second one. Yeah.
Okay, from Ariel.
Yeah.
Ariel, could you? I don't see your probably full name. Yeah, Ariel, I cannot see your full name. Could you please reach me in the chat directly?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Please.
just to know
Please.
your name, your full name.
Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that. So guys, thank you so much from our side, from Tatsiana and me, that you joined to us this evening time to hear something new, maybe something new for you, for yourself about the user story writing process. But I think that our presentation, our webinar today, definitely help you to be how to say, to be armed, yep, with the best practices, and just revise everything in your head related to the user story writing process. So thank you so much. Stay with us, and don't forget to provide maybe thanks if you want to us, and stay with us. Everything will be interesting more and more. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.